Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it feels like an eternity since I've heard that intro, that beautiful sound from DTM. But we are back. It is DTM Esports Pro Series 2024. We've had our shootouts a month or so ago, but now we head into the main championship. 32 of the best drivers around the world from RaceRoom in the DTM cars taking part to see who will be the champion of 2024. My name is Luke Crane. I will be one of your commentators, and I am joined by Connery Maddock. Connery, how the devil are you doing?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm super excited for the start of this season. We had two very action-packed shootouts to be able to get to this point to establish our grid for this DTM Esports Pro Championship, the main season. And we saw, oh, it looks like my feed's gone. But we saw that we had a amazing set of racing in those first sets of shootouts. So I would hope that carries on into this main season, especially considering the caliber of drivers that we have.
Yeah, absolutely. Could not agree with you more. Obviously, with the shootouts, we had races where 6 drivers were making it through. Then we had a last chance qualifier each time where 4 drivers would then make it through from a grid of 32. But now it is all about points and winning the championship. So we have 32 drivers in each race. We have indeed, of course, got 6 rounds of 2 races in total. But first of all, let's check out the cars that we are using today. We are in a DTM 2023, a pack that you can go and buy on RaceRoom right now. It, ladies and gentle cars, you can go and buy yourself that pack from the DTM, from the RaceRoom store, the DTM pack of 2023. And I will say one thing: whoever put that video of Hockenheim Turn 1 in real to then virtual is an absolute genius. That was absolutely lovely. But anyway, back to today. We've got our first round of races, so 2 races today, and we head to the Norisring, which, Connery, is probably the shortest circuit shortest circuit for like tin top cars in the world, maybe.
Yeah,
It's very short. It's 4 corners.
Yeah, I honestly wouldn't be surprised. Well, it's a tiny little bit more than 4 corners, but yeah, it kind of feels like that at times. And of course, for a first round of the championship, going to a street circuit, it certainly is an interesting predicament as well. It's dirt simple. These drivers probably would not have done too much practice here because it's a couple of 90-degree corners, a couple of hairpins. That's basically it. So I expect that the gaps to be so close here, especially in qualifying. I wouldn't be surprised if we have multiple drivers, 5, 6, 7 drivers, all within the same 1/10 of a second at the front of the field.
Yeah, could not agree more. There are a couple of traits this circuit has, and there's a couple of things that if you have a little bit of inside knowledge, maybe you've raced around it in real life, nudge, nudge to Moritz Lohner, they will maybe find some extra things. The track surface is tarmac, but then there are some slabs of concrete on the exit of the chicane, but there are little grooves that you can get your sort of left tires in on the entry to the first corner onto the hairpin, where you can help the rotation of the car. So yeah, any sort of inside knowledge or local knowledge will definitely help you out. But let's check out then the calendar for our season. Of course, we've already had our shootout races to find our grid of 32 drivers, but we are here for round number 1 then. So it is, of course, the 8th of March. Crazy how we're already in March, by the way. So we got 2 races today. Again, 20-minute race, 30-minute race. Then we have round 2, which is the Nürburgring. Then we head to the Lausitz Ring. Lots of rings, by the way. Sachsenring then will be the first race we have in April. Then we have the Red Bull Ring. And then we head to the finale, which is, for the most part, apart from a couple of seasons ago, the Hockenheim Ring always is the DTM final race. And we're going to have that for the esports version as well. Right. Let's have a look then at the timetable for today's action. That way you can sort of plan, go get yourself some snacks and some drinks. So, of course, we've had the countdown. We've had the stream start. Quali 1. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be very shortly indeed, in about 10 minutes' time. So we will head into practice just to catch what they're up to, maybe do a little bit of a lap guide. Then we have race number 1. Then it goes straight to quali number 2. Race number 2, we'll do a few interviews, and then we'll end the stream, probably breathless and wanting some snacks from ourselves. Right, there we go. So let's check out our entry list for today's event. So 32 drivers, 32 of the very best drivers in the world. It is in alphabetical order. I would name them all, but you can read them on your screens right now. If you're watching on the chat, whether I'm looking at the DTM YouTube channel, the English channel, and I'm watching on my own channel as well, if you've got any predictions as to who you think is going to do well, now is the time to get those names involved. Connery, who sticks out for you on this list?
There are so many names. There are so many names. Of course, we have Marcel Chinchik, who's had a lot of a massive success recently in esports. We have, of course, Kevin Siggy, a RaceRoom
reigning champ.
RaceRoom veteran, like you said, reigning champion as well. So those are very strong contenders, but you look at every single name on this list and you can make a justification as to why they are also a strong contender for this one. It's an absolutely stacked field here today. It's absolutely crazy. Of course, we have previous DTM Esports champion Moritz Lohner also taking part in this one as he returns to the esports series after, of course, being able to do a season in the DTM trophy in the real world as well. So yeah, you could throw a towel over all of them.
Yeah, with those two names specifically, that's the last 3 champions there. Moritz has got 2, and Kevin Siggy is our reigning champion heading into this. But there are some new names that you might not be so familiar with. I think Axel Vermeulen might be someone that will come in here and yeah, maybe cause a few upsets. Christian Mitchell, another driver that's relatively new to the top end of sim racing, you know, for the DTM series. But then you've got drivers such as Ethan Yuyovsky. Yuyovsky's going to be up there. Enzo Benito is going to be up there as well. And then you've got sort of RaceRoom specialists. You've got Jack Keithley. You've got Gianmarco Fiducci. Never ever dismiss the likes of Isaac Price, Isaac Gillison, who is going to be the best Isaac on the grid. Last time out, it was Isaac Price. But will it be Isaac Gillison's turn this time around? Right, let's head out to the track then, where they are indeed practicing. 8 minutes left of practice, I do believe. And well, we can have a look at this beautiful race circuit. And they're actually in their team liveries as well. And well, a bit of a surprise there. Number 69, nice. Jeffrey Rietveld, 0.04 of a second clear of Isaac Gillison.
Yep, good benchmark. It's a good benchmark, excuse me, to set in practice. But I mean, from previous experience, I don't think we can read too much into practice times. Of course, some drivers will decide to either not take part or, of course, get the sandbags into the car and then display their actual performance in qualifying trim once we get to that stage of this competition. But we've got 6 minutes and 41 seconds left remaining here in practice. Drivers just using this as an opportunity to get their sights set in. Of course, they've had practice events, they've had practice servers go up before, either official, made by DTM, or their own private practice servers as well. So they'll be very much prepared coming into this one. This practice is not about getting used to the track, it's about getting used to the current conditions and having all those other cars on the circuit as well.
Yeah, 100% there. It is spot on. And when you've only got 10 people who've posted a time, again, representatives will be found. Well, that's one way of going around the circuit. RAG Esports, by the way, shout out to them. They are in the YouTube chat for the English stream, so hopefully you're well. I think you've got 3 drivers representing you today, which is always good to have. Yeah, it's going to be a good championship, that's for sure. Isaac Gillison representing Scuderia Ferrari Esports team. He managed to qualify, well, he managed to get himself a seat in the Ferrari Esports team during Ferrari Esports. So good to see the Dutchman not only representing the team, but ultimately at the sharp end right now, isn't he? He's 1/10 of a second and a bit more change ahead of Ethan Yuyovsky. Jack Keithley finds himself 1,000th of a second behind Yuyovsky in third spot. We've got then Lucas Muller, who has been very excited to do this, that's for sure. You expect him to be at the sharp end, followed by his fellow countryman Marco Pajic. We've got Emre Cihan, who's in 6th. Delorme, who has been a big surprise so far this season, and will the Frenchman be able to continue that trend as Isaac just runs a little bit deep there through turn number 1. And turn number 1 is one of those corners where there's a little groove by the curbing on the inside, where if you could get your tyres and get your wheel tracks into that groove, it will help rotate the car. So there's a few nuances here, and this is especially interesting here is that right-hand side. Look at that. That is concrete slabbing on the right-hand side. So you go from tarmac to concrete slabbing, which is an entirely different surface.
Yeah, can be. You wouldn't be so. It's not surprising to see a few cars maybe get a bit upset by that transition onto the different material there, so you can potentially expect a couple of issues coming through there, but then immediately, just as fast as the lap started, it ends as he hits his way across the line to set another lap here in this practice session, does Isaac Gillison. So that was a lap on board with our driver that's currently top in the practice session, and these guys will get many more laps to be able to show what they're made of here in practice. But I think the vast majority of them, of course, their sights are set ahead in just about 4 minutes time, about when we'll get that qualifying procedure underway for our first race.
Yeah, 100%. But Isaac Gillison just, keeps getting beaten, but then keeps returning to the top of the timesheets looking very quickly. Jack Keithley, a RaceRoom specialist for Williams Esports, RAG pointing out they have 4 drivers representing them in the DTM Esports this season. My bad, slap on the wrist for me. But yes, they are very well represented here today. Team Redline have got 3 drivers on the grid. Williams has got a fair few as well. There is the Team Redline car, Enzo Benito, who is clearly best looking sim racer in the world. Is he fast? He's also very fast. Connery, one of the GOATs of sim racing, I might add.
Yeah, absolutely. He's been around for donkey's years at this point. Is the British term? So I might have to try a long time. That's the translation for anyone who's not British. Yeah, he's definitely since when I started and even before that. So it's yeah, definitely one of the veterans at this point. But you can say that for a good couple of those drivers out there here today. They've been at the top level for some of them almost a decade at this point.
Yeah, 100%. I'm just going to go through the list here. Jack Keithley's been around for a while, especially on RaceRoom. Ethan Yayovsky's been on for a while as well. Kevin Siggy, a little bit younger, but has been around for a long time. A little bit further down the order, Isaac Price, yeah, he's been around for a very long time in the world of sim racing, just closing up to his 30s actually as well. Emery Chihan, he's been around for a fair amount of time as well. Team Fordzilla, like the phoenix rising from the ashes, a Team Fordzilla car appears.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while, hasn't it? Team Fordzilla. And we always make the joke, Luke, when Team Fordzilla are not in a Ford. It's always weird seeing that livery in other manufacturers' cars.
It certainly is, yeah. That is a Team Porsche that doesn't have quite the same zip to it, though, I would add. As we run it down to towards turn 1 there. There's some little bit of RG McBargington, which is always not the best idea. There's the number 46 there, Gianmarco Fiducci. He is representing Veloce. Currently purple here. This might be a very good lap time indeed as we head up towards then the start-finish line here at the Norisring. Again, plenty of time to get lap times in. Probably still get 2 more options. He's got the number 44 in front of him as the Dirt Esports car in the Falcon Porsche livery. And Fiducci, who was purple in the first 2 sectors, didn't quite manage to find himself any extra pace in that final one. And he's just gone to within 0.04 of a second of Marcel Shinchik, who just overturned the deficit to Isaac Gillison. So front 3 separated by about 0.04, half a tenth maybe. Not much between them, but it is the Hungarian, and on a RaceRoom it always is Hungarian, who's currently leading the timesheet.
Yeah, absolutely, not by much though. Not by much, 36 thousandths of a second, and we're just talking about practice times here, let alone qualifying. So expect things to be even tighter once these guys are going full chat, as we say. So Fiducci, of course, in a pretty good position here in this practice session at the moment, knowing that he's not going to be too far off pace potentially. For those further down the order, some have not yet set lap times. Maybe they're hiding something from us, Luke, and then they'll be very competitive in qualifying.
Get on board with Moritz Lohner right now. He has gone purple here, ladies and gentlemen. Currently 0.2 of a second in that Mouse Esports car. And as we go across, oh, there we go. So Mouse, driver, currently just shy of 0.04 of a second off of Fiducci. That's the first time he's really put a representative time. So you can expect him to go faster indeed. As Nikodem Wisniewski, new driver, sorry, I say a new driver, not a new driver, a new team. He is officially now representing G2 Esports. Nathan, if you're watching right now, I do apologize. The last shootout, I nearly gave it away as to where he was racing. I didn't message you because I was hoping that you didn't spot it. But yeah, it's officially been announced this week. The video came out, so we're all good now. Nikodem and Jakub, who officially cannot race without each other. That is in their contracts, I believe. They are represented G2 Esports, so congratulations on them. And I'm sure they're going to do very well in this championship. But Nathan would have been watching a couple of weeks ago, or a month ago now, and gone, oh my God, why is he nearly accidentally let the cat out of the bag? Well, there was a rumor going around, and the rumor was true.
Well, it's good to get that finally sorted out, though. The truth comes out in the end. We change over into qualifying mode now. So practice is over. This is the real deal. We're seeing some tyre warming already from Yuri Toman as he heads his way through and, well, ready to start his qualifying.
Yeah, let's check it out from cockpit cam then and give you a lap of the, well, I guess the lip is Australian for lap. Let's give you a lap then of the Norisring over across the start-finish line. Connery telling me there's more than 4 corners here. I do not believe that whatsoever. This doesn't count as a corner for sure. As we head down towards turn number 1 officially, there's the hairpin. Runs a little bit deep on the exit. And now we head down towards turn number 2, which is not this little left-hander. This is flat out, so it's not a corner. Now we head towards turn number 2, which is the start of our chicane. There we go. Just grazing the wall there if you possibly dare. Almost turning into the wall towards turn number 3. And well, we've got one more corner to go. Again, I think Connery probably will count this little kink of a right-hander as a corner, but it's not. Factually not a corner. I'm telling you that right now. We head down towards turn number 4 of 4, Connery. On the exit we go, and Yuri Toman with a relatively good lap time, very, very smooth, but I'm sure we'll see faster across the session.
Absolutely, up across the line now. Officially, it has 8 corners. That's official, okay. But Yuri Toman up in towards P8, but quickly slides down the order as other drivers decide to make their impact for the first time in this qualifying session, and it's one of our previous champions, Moritz Lohner, in the Mouse machine, is able to go provisional pole position.
Someone got bored, didn't they? They were like, right, okay, so we're at the Norisring this weekend. We need content. What should we do? Let's make up 4 corners on this circuit, shall we? Make it 8. There's only 4. I will not have anyone else tell me different. But yeah, you are right. It is officially 8, so I am wrong, but it's 4. Marcel Shinchik then down towards the final corner, turn number 4. And he has, well, got a very, very good first sector. The second sector it's just let him down. I say let him down. It's just very much slightly slower than Moritz Lohner. As we come across the line there, the Porsche is going to post up to a P4. Look how close the times are. Of course, it's a short track, but right now we have the, well, to be fair, everyone has put a time in within 0.6 of a second of each other. Absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, it is ridiculous stuff here at the moment. A lot of drivers actually selling purple first sectors at the moment, so it seems like things are just getting faster and faster out there. Lucas Müller went purple through the first sector as well. Personal best through sector 2 as well, so this is looking like a pretty good lap for Müller. 15th place in qualifying currently. This could put him near the top if he's able to hook this up well.
Oh, Tim Yarshall goes provisional pole, then a 49.804. We have not seen a 49.7 yet, I do not believe. As Lucas Müller comes across the line, it's going to be better than 17th. It's only 10th spot, though. But if someone can find an extra 10th of a second right now, you are going to put yourself up massively on this grid. Top 5 as it stands, though, Yarshall, Lohner, Wisniewski. We've then got Shinchik and Kevin Siggy as Gillison moves up into a top 7 position. Dominic Blyer we're on board with now as we come around the final corner, and currently looking very fast indeed, Connery.
Yeah, absolutely. So he's going to head his way across the line right about now. Let's see how far up the field he gets himself as well. He'll take the toe back to the pit lane pretty much immediately. So P9 for Dominic Blyer here at the moment. We've got Marcel Chinchik, who's currently on a lap here as well. At the moment, he heads his way up and across the line, and let's see where he's going to end up, as I'm just having a look. He's still P5 here at the moment.
Yeah, he certainly is. We're on board then with one of the R8G cars. Nice colour scheme they've gone for this year as well, a little bit different to what we've seen in previous years. And I'm not too exactly sure who we're on board with right now.
Yeah, it's unfortunately our overlays have frozen. So we're going to have to deal with that just for a small moment. But yeah, I mean, new technology, right? New overlay for the season. There's going to be some teething issues. But I do have the live order at the moment. It is Tim Yarshall still at the top of the order, then Mark Sloan, and then Nick Wisniewski. So at least that is accurate on the timing tower at the moment. Yeah,
this is Marcel Shinchik, the number 26 car, which you can still see on the timing screen there. We've got Kevin Siggy, of course, our reigning champion, about 0.08 of a second. As we see some sparks up in the air there as well.
Yeah, we are trying to sort out the overlay issues, folks. That pit window closed and the red lights not exactly accurate at this stage. But qualifying still has about 5 minutes left remaining in it. Tim Yarshall, pole position, Moritz Lohner, second place, Wisniewski in third here at the moment. But Moritz Lohner, the driver on screen, is on a lap at the moment. Actually, 2 purple sectors. Let's see if he's able to get himself across the line. He does go provisional pole position there, does Moritz Lohner.
Certainly does. Moritz Lohner looking like, well, his old self, isn't he? He is obviously a previous 2-time champion of DTM. Managed to get himself a drive in the DTM trophy as well, off the back of it. But then he lost that to Kevin Siggy last time round. So he'd love to be a 3-time. Well, he's doing his best impression of that right now with that pole position as we're on board with the Fordzilla. Right, get yourselves involved in the chat then, guys. So if you're watching on DTM YouTube, the English version, if you're watching on my chat, get yourselves involved. Who do you think is going to do the best today? Who are you predicting to win? We've got Vince in the chat saying, it's Erhan, not Ethan. No, it's Ethan. Actually, it's Ethan. Ask Graham Carroll. That might be where it comes from. Yeah, we're on board then with the team Fordzilla car, number 59, around that final corner.
Yep, absolutely. Well, we're still trying our best to get the overlays fixed, but it seems like they're not wanting to play ball here at the moment, unfortunately. So we're going to treat this as a little bit of a radio broadcast, I would have thought. So we do have to be a bit more descriptive in terms of our in terms of our descriptions here. So currently we've got 3 minutes and 43 seconds left in qualifying. Moritz Lohner pole position by 7 thousandths of a second over Tim Yarshall. Then we got Nikodem Wisniewski 31 thousandths of a second behind in terms of the qualifying order here at the moment. Kevin Siggy in P4. Jakob Brzezinski is currently in P5. Currently, no one on a purple sector here at the moment, so I'm not expecting some massive moves at this particular stage, but I mean, we might be surprised in the last couple of minutes of qualifying.
Yeah, you could well be surprised in the last couple of minutes of qualifying. You never know. There's a reason why they've all qualified for this. It's as simple as that. It is, you know, these are the best drivers in the world on RaceRoom. They are all vying for, you know, a massive chunk of a very, very impressive prize pool. So, yeah, expect the unexpected. But I would imagine that the usual top dogs will be there or thereabout.
Yeah, I imagine so as well. So, less than 3 minutes left in qualifying. Tim Yarshall previously was on a lap, but it looks like he's kind of backed off of that one a little bit and has fallen back behind. But we will just have to step away just for a second, just to see if we can fix these overlay issues, folks, and we'll be back in a moment.
Well, we just got a couple of technical issues. We should be back in the server very, very shortly indeed. But that is the pack that you can buy, the cars that we are using for this championship. If you've just joined us, ladies and gentlemen, this is the DTM Esports Championship 2024. We have 6 rounds for you with 2 races in each round. And this is the first one. We're at the Norisring today, which is the shortest circuit. Connery Taylor's 8 corners. There's only 4. And we have got 32 of the best drivers. It really is as simple as that, Connery. I'm pretty excited for this. All of the top dogs are already performing. It should be a really good round.
Yeah, it should absolutely be. And, well, we are expecting big things from this, of course, especially with the caliber of drivers that we have. It's you know, I'm sort of very, very optimistic about how this one is really going to go. It's, you know, a very tight street circuit, just as our start, as our first round of the entire season, which, you know, has its own issues. You know, it's not necessarily going to be a huge display of driver skill here today. It's all about maybe even just surviving the initial couple of laps out there.
Yeah, 100%. Make sure you get yourself to turn one, and ultimately, through there nice and cleanly. Then you can build on your race. The laps will just come thick and fast. We're looking at, over 20 laps for the first race, 40 laps maybe for the second race as well. Plenty of people getting involved in the chat. Lots of Hungarians. There's always a Hungarian in the chat on RaceRoom. It's just a fact of life. If you see a RaceRoom championship, there'll be some Hungarians in and around it. So if you are indeed watching over on YouTube, maybe watching on Twitch, let me know who you are supporting in today's race. How close were you there, Connery? How close were we to get back in?
We can get back in, but unfortunately we still don't have overlays. So this is going to be a particularly tricky race for us to manage, and hopefully you're able to bear with us a little bit at home as well as we sort things out, and as someone exits the universe as they head their way down and the way. But coming back to us here, qualifying has indeed got itself to an end. I'm going to try and press a button and try and get the qualifying results up for you. But I can guarantee no success here at the moment. But it's always worth a try, and yeah, it currently is not working for me. So we're currently working on that. We got people behind the scenes currently working on things. It might just be that we have the initial parts of this race without the overlays, but yeah, of course, as these guys get into what is basically their 1 minute warm up. Here at this stage, we can have a look at the situation out there. It's going to be a particularly hectic qualifying session, even behind the scenes here. But it's going to be a very, very crazy start to this race as well.
It certainly will be. Jostling for position. They're all going to be, jostling for the same part of the racetrack. It really is as simple as that. It's such a small place to race as we now head towards the gridding for this first race of the season. Connery, I'm pretty excited here. They've got 60 seconds to get themselves on the grid, and then it is an absolute go.
Yeah, absolutely. It is going to be crazy. Of course, drivers will have very little time now to try and get themselves ready. This is going to be absolutely crazy. Bumper to bumper stuff, door to door stuff, potentially here in the DTM Esports Championship as we get ourselves set for the first race of the entire season here, Luke.
Yeah, we certainly do. We're just waiting for the cars to appear on the grid. Hopefully we'll get ourselves some overlays. Maybe we won't, but we'll try our best to commentate this race. I have literally zero information, no live timing or anything here, so I'll do my best to try and cover this as best I possibly can if we do not get the timing tower on our screen. But yeah, this is the first round of many this season. Here's some cars revving their engines. We're pretty much ready to rock and indeed roll as we have a little look there on the exit of turn number 4. And well,
oh wow, we've
by the sounds of things,
all controls.
The race has begun here, but unfortunately we're not able to see anything on our screen. So yeah, bit of a shame that it's not quite working. So the technical issues, it's a new overlay, and the new overlay is just unfortunately not working there at 100%, which is a bit of a shame. So yeah, I don't really know what to say there, Connery. Not ideal. They are racing, but we can't see it. So that's not ideal.
Yeah, absolutely. That is just the situation. We're going to go full on for a in terms of the sim in the game here. We're going to go for a full on restart of absolutely everything. So you will just have to bear with us for a moment. We do apologize that we weren't able to bring you the start of that race. Technical issues out of our control here, unfortunately, here in this one. But I guess that just increases our anticipation for this next event, right? It's the drivers, of course, will they'll not know what's going on. They have their own race to be getting on with and trying to get.
Oh, it's not their problem.
Not their problem.
They're not worried in the slightest.
Not their problem.
They're out there peddling their best at Norisring right now, so hopefully we'll get back into check that out. We've got our last 3 champions of DTM Esports in the race. We've got Moritz Lohner, who's a 2-time champion, of course, raced in DTM Trophy last year, then took sim racing on as his priority. We've got Kevin Siggy, who is our reigning champion right now, in the race as well. So we've got lots of talent on show, lots of drivers that want to become the next DTM Esports champion. I will say one thing, in qualifying, we saw the top 20 separated by about 0.3 of a second, which is absolutely nothing. It is a short track, but just goes to show how good the field of drivers we have here is.
Yeah, it really is, and this is kind of in terms of the talent on the grids. This is definitely one of the more stacked fields in esports racing. It's great to see everyone getting themselves involved here in this series, and having the support from DTM is so important as well. I think more real life racing series have to really step up to the plate and do things like DTM are doing with their esports championships. I know some of them are going that way now, and there's a lot of progress on that front. But I think still that more needs to be done, in particular with regards to that.
Yeah, and what I like about what DTM's done is not only have they decided to support the drivers, they support the teams as well, because they allow them to run with their own liveries on the car, where there's a lot of esports series that kind of deter away from that. They try and make it not about the team that the drivers drive for. It's very important that you let the teams in, because drivers cannot do this for a living without the teams backing them. It really is as simple as that. And so if you completely ignore the teams behind them, what have you really got? If you're not going to let the teams benefit from this, then there's really no point for them entering the competition. So DTM really have, enhanced not only the drivers but the teams being able to take part. And this is not the first season they've done that. This is the second time that they've gone for that option. And it looks really cool. I like seeing all of the sim racing liveries. Of course, the manufacturers from DTM are here. They're, in their all of their glory, and you can go and buy the actual DTM pack on RaceRoom right now. You can quite literally go out there and buy the pack on RaceRoom right now. But ultimately, it's nice to see that they are supporting the teams and the drivers.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great to see that support. It's it's what's needed here in sim racing, because of course there's still not a massive amount of money in it. Right? It's we got some great prize pools here. Don't get me wrong. However, when it comes to the whole ecosystem, there needs to be a little bit more. And I know it's a struggle, especially in recent times with esports, with a lot of companies, perhaps not doing quite as well. I think motorsport is still placed in a pretty good position in that they can continue to support this side of things, because it has a direct benefit into their real world as well.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. It really is as simple as that. So we are just, I don't know, we're moments away potentially of getting back into the race here. Unfortunately, we've got some technical issues. If you do want to go and see the race, you can head over to the German stream on YouTube. So you won't miss out on the action. You might not be able to understand what's being said, but ultimately, motorsport has only one language, and that is the sound of those cars. So yeah, if you want to head over to there and catch the action happening in Race Number 1, that is live right now.
Yeah, absolutely, and we might have to resort in trying to get a feed from them. That might be the solution that we potentially might have to go after here. We are doing one final little restart of the overlay. We can get cars. We can get cars on screen now, but unfortunately,
there we go. Good enough.
Still not working. So at least we've got something, right? We've got something to work with. So just to give you a bit of an update, I have all the timing here at the moment, so I have a little bit more information on the loop. So currently, race leader is Tim Yarshall in at the very front of the field at the moment. Then we got Marcel Chinchik. Then we got Moritz Lohner in 3rd place. Nikodem Wisniewski in 4th, with Isaac Price in 5th place. Okay, that's our top 5. In terms of those drivers that might have had issues a little bit early on, we have Jack Keithley that's dropped down the order, and then we have Julian Kunze, who's currently in 1st place. Otto Viani's down the order. Högfeldt's potentially having problems as well there in that situation. So yeah, that's the current running of the race. You can see a lot of single file action going on at the moment. Not much side-by-side, if any side-by-side at all, down the field, although we might have a little bit of a signal down there at the back. Yuri Toman getting involved here with Leonard Carton, and that is Remy Delorme also involved in this one as well, as we're focusing on Yuri Toman as he looks to try and work his way around the outside.
Yeah, you can see Carton there holding on to that inside. Delorme giving him a little nudge there along the start-finish line. But Yuri Toman has held on firm. His hold on around the outside of turn number 1 is pretty special indeed as we come down towards the chicane. And yeah, there's only enough room for one car to go through there. Yuri Toman lives to fight another day, keeps himself up the sharp end of this race. And now you can see Carton and you can see Delorme side by side. Delorme's got that inside line down towards that final corner. I'll be about to see a change of position between the two BMWs. By the time we get on the exit, they are still going to be side by side. And actually, I think Carton's just about able to hang on. So Yuri Toman, with now under some severe pressure from Carton, has now got a bit of breathing room, can look to go up and chase Isaac Gillison.
That's the exact situation there. It's great to try and gain these positions early, especially in a tight street circuit such as this. You don't want to be caught up in too much traffic here in this situation. So good progress attempting to be made by the drivers towards the very back of the field. But in terms of the front, things are very, very quiet indeed. You've got Tim Yarshall leading, Chinchik second place, Moritz Lohner in third. They're all keeping each other honest, though, here in this situation, Luke. So there's no pulling away from the rest of the field that they're being able to do at the moment. They're sort of keeping in that 3-car pack and keeping each other honest.
Yeah, 100%. And you know what? This is not the worst performance in the world. It's not the worst position to finish in the world, even if you're third of this group. Good, solid points in round number 1. We've seen, many drivers completely lose the championship in the first couple of races in previous seasons by being involved in stuff that they just don't need to be involved in. So right now, getting a strong finish, some decent points to kick things off. It is a long season, 12 races in total, 2 of those which will be completed today. But it is Yarshall with a phenomenal start right now, finding himself down in, well, I say down, up into P1. He qualified P3, by the way, in his heat to get to this stage. So top 6 from the heats, managed to make it through. He was in P3. Moritz Lohner, who's third in this grid, he was P1, in terms of his qualifying. And Marcel Chinchik, he was 4th in his heat to qualify through, as we get a lovely look there momentarily of Moritz Lohner. So it looks like we've got the YouTube feed up then of the German stream. So hopefully we'll get, for the second race, we will be absolutely sorted for us to be able to do this on our own. But right now, we're on board with Moritz Lohner, who's currently third, again, in behind Chinchik, in behind Yarshall. Nikodem Wisniewski, in his new team with the G2 Esports, doing a really, really good job. He's got his teammate there, Isaac Price, in 5th spot.
Yeah, absolutely. So the disadvantage of this is that we won't get car audio, but what we can do is give you a little bit of ambience from the cameras that we do have.
Oh!
Big move around.
Kevin Siggy just got absolutely T-boned there by a Williams car, trying to figure out exactly who that was. And while there's more carnage a little bit further up the road as well, that is, that's 2 red line cars in the space of about 20 seconds. Have both ended up facing in the wrong direction. So not ideal in the slightest, but it looked like that there was a Williams car that just ran a little bit too deep into turn 1. And unfortunately, Kevin Siggy was the driver that lost out big time there.
Yeah, big time as well, as we are on board with Gillison briefly there. Meanwhile, Siggy looking to try and attempt to go around the outside of Yovsky here. Florian Hasse is also involved in this one as well, on the outside looking in to that particular battle, and you can see how everything has been stacked up behind here due to those issues, due to those little battles. Everyone is starting to trip over each other now, side by side for a couple of rows down in towards the hairpin here. You can see Siggy commit towards the outside here, trying to get some progress done over Yovsky, but it is still not being successful.
Yeah, probably hoping that Enzo sort of boxed Yayovsky in a little bit there, but ultimately, Enzo can't really afford that. He'll lose too much touch with the group in front, and there's not long to go in this race. Only 10 minutes to go. So there is the replay. Yeah, just got turned around, trying to figure out who it was. It's Dominic Blyer. Dominic Blyer is not really known for that, to be honest. Not really known for getting involved in too many incidents. As we see also again, that was it was Jeffrey Rietveld who was involved. I'm not too sure exactly who that was next to him, but there is Erhan Yayovsky now. With a lovely little bit of a helicopter cam. But this is, there we go. So there's Dominic Blyer. He's now under pressure from Lucas Muller down towards turn number 1. He's going to run a little bit deep. Paducci, they're not able to get involved. He's currently in 8th position. We've got Ben Spanky in 9th spot, also running for Ferrari Esports. We've then got Jacob Brzezinski. I say Ben Spanky's running for Ferrari Esports in the BMW, so that's completely wrong. And then got Isaac Gillison, who is Ferrari Esports, currently in 11th.
Yeah, so things... Well, I was going to say daringly calming down a little bit, potentially at this stage, but I know the danger in saying that, as we see Lucas Muller dealing with a little bit of pressure from Paducci from behind in that BMW. So Porsche versus BMW here at the moment in the battle for P7 out there on circuit, and Muller looking to try and progress forwards, trying to lock onto the back of Blyer as well, a little bit further up the field. But these laps come by very thick and fast here. I think it's fortunate we're on a timed event rather than a lap event, because I think the race was ended already. Yeah,
100%. Lucas Muller on screen as well with your in-camera shot. He's got the Nordschleifer in behind him as well as a picture. The German looking to try and make up as many positions as possible here. We're on board then with Enzo Benito. He's currently in 13th position behind Emre Cihan, but it is a cluster of cars. 20 minutes with 32 of the world's best RaceRoom sim racers is not a lot of time to get any kind of moves done here. So qualifying is absolutely key. Hence why Yarshall, Shinchik and Lona, who've now got themselves a nice little comfortable 1.6 second gap at the front, they've been able to manage this perfectly. And again, just get yourself a podium to kick things off and you're in a good spot. As you can see though, Emre Cihan looking behind to Enzo Benito. Benito taking that outside line. Is there the opportunity for a potential switchback? And I'll tell you what, he's left the gap open there. And then as quickly as it opened, it closed once again. And Enzo had to back out.
Yeah, so a hopeful move, but not successful for the moment. So you can see Pajic locking onto the back of Krippner ahead as well in this one. So it's all stacked up. It's all those detailed throughout this entirety of this mid-pack here. You can see how close that everyone is. People trying to jostle for position pretty much every lap here. But in the end, all the really Sicilian doing is slowing each other out and making the problem even worse.
Yeah, Gogo Boldy's the other Ferrari Esports driver. I always get the Hungarians mixed up there. I say Hungarians mixed up. Ben Spanky is not from Hungary. Just having a bit of a brain fade. As we run then down towards turn number 1, you can see we've got Rudinger in the number 17 BMW trying to make a potential move here. And while he opens up the corner, and while who puts himself in that space? It's Yuri Toman. Yuri Toman, though, not able to complete that move. Ultimately, the biggest winner in this situation is the Hungarian, Gogo Boldy, with a bit of breathing room. I say that, it's about 6 inches.
Not a lot. So in terms of gaps, so it's yeah, very, very close indeed. Again, another chance potentially on the run down into the next braking zone here for Rudinger, trying to go around the outside, but has a slight overlap, but all that overlap just kind of fizzles out by the exit of the corner and can't really make much progress. And of course, always has Yuri Toman breathing down his neck as well, which certainly doesn't help.
No, it really doesn't help. You know, as much as this is for P20, you are still going to be up against a world-level driver. There are no such driver on this grid as slow. You cannot put that term in with these drivers. There was a side-by-side battle in the background, actually. I think it was Springer and Ottaviani, and Jack Eathley was involved in it as well. Who, yeah, there we go, the number 99 Williams car down at P27, which is a big shock. We just saw them as we panned over the other side of the track. We're on board then with Gianmarco Fiducci racing for Veloce Esports. They've got a couple of cars on the grid here. They've got Fiducci. They've got also Marco Pajic, who had a brief spell for a year at Mercedes last year, but now back racing for Veloce. But the car behind them, it is Brzezinski, who is closing up very, very quickly indeed. Now we're heading up towards turn number 1. Lucas Muller on the inside. Sorry, it's Spencer Banky, isn't it? Brzezinski's a little bit further back actually in the Porsche. Spencer Banky now trying to take full advantage. You saw the slipstream had a very big effect as they headed up towards turn number 1, but he wasn't quite close enough with Pence, and ultimately has to stay in P9.
Absolutely. I may be very cautious about this. We may have overlays back.
Oh, have you fixed it? Connery Maddock, you absolute genius. Well, there's Marco Pajic, then he's in behind Leo Krippner, and well, in behind them you can see the Gogo Boldy and Yuri Toman are having a hellacious little battle, and they've got then in behind them Jeffrey Rietveld. So Rietveld trying to make his way up and towards that top 20. Ultimately, we saw him facing the wrong way at this very part of the track, and yeah, it's a lot of hard work to go. But luckily for them, the second race is happening today, and they have another qualifying session. So it's not a case of any reverse grids or wherever you finish in this race, you will end up starting in the next one. Luckily, it is basically a fresh slate. There's a couple of drivers who are going to be pretty annoyed with how things have gone this time around. Let's head up to the front then. It is 0.3 of a second separating our front two. The German, Tim Yarshall, currently in P1. Marcel Shinchik is in P2, representing Falcon Sim Racing and indeed R8G, respectively. We've got Moritz Lohner for Mouse in third spot. Wisniewski for G2, followed by his teammate Isaac Price. Dominic Plyer for Williams in 6th position. Lucas Muller, who is representing Falcon, is in 7th. Fiducci, representing Veloce, in 8th spot. We've then got Ben Spanky and Brzezinski as your top 10. And with 3 minutes 30 seconds to go, 2 Porkers out on front. Oh, they are having a great time.
Yeah, absolutely. It's yeah, you can see that the gaps are starting to extend out a little bit here at the front of the fields. Maybe not between Yarshall and Shinchik, but between themselves and well, between them and everyone else, because Moritz Lohner dropping off the back here a little bit here as well. Going to really struggle to try and make that back inside the final 3 minutes of this particular race, as it potentially is a two-horse race now at the very front of the field in this sprint event of this first DTM Esports Pro Championship round. Of course, we do have another race after this one, which is a little bit longer, 30 minutes, and of course we will have a mandatory pit stop where they have to take tyres.
Oh yeah, they have to do a stop, so picking and choosing your time, maybe behind someone who's a little bit slower, and you think you can maybe jump them via a pit stop. That is where strategy will come into play. These two at the front, though, doing a very, very good job. And I think we might see Tim Yarshall again just take exactly the same line. He's got a big enough gap to manage this, where Shinshik cannot send it up the inside. But ultimately, he takes a wide line through the entry of the corner. Look at this. He'll just take a wide line, and the exit, he cuts in nice and close to the apex, and he gets a bit of a better exit. But he doesn't leave a big enough space for Shinshik to absolutely send it. Right now, Lohner currently in third spot in the BMW. They just actually announced last month their BMW partnership with Mouse and BMW. Congratulations to them. He's currently in that P3, looking to try and become a 3-time DTM Esports champion. Wisniewski a little bit further back as it stands. So, yeah, very good start here for Yarshall and Shinshik with 1 minute 40 seconds to go. I think by the time they cross the line, it should be three. It's going to be close to either 2 or 3 laps. As they cross the line, I think it's going to be. Do you know what? It's going to be 2. 2 laps remain.
Yeah, absolutely. It's well, it was a close run thing. That's for sure, and not hell for Shinshik. You can see about how much pressure he's applying to the back of Yarshall here at the moment. He wants to try and go for this race win, and let me tell you, Luke, he's definitely got the opportunity to do it. How firm is Yarshall going to try and defend this?
It has to. He wants to be a DTM race winner. It is as simple as that. But Marcel Shinshik's looking in his rear-view mirror thinking, I have a couple of cracks at this. I can really send one up the inside, but then not be caught by the car behind. So he doesn't have to focus on anything other than that Falcon Sim Racing Team Porsche in front of him. Tim Yarshall knows that, and will have to use every ounce of his defense for him to keep hold of this. Across the checkered line, it's going to be so tight. Literally 48 seconds, just shy of 49 seconds is a lap here at the Norisring. So I just don't know as to whether this is the final lap or not. As you can see, Marcel Shinshik takes a very deep line, and on the exit will be quicker, but he will be forced, I would imagine, to take the outside line. Yes, he will. So Tim Yarshall making it very obvious, if you're going to make an overtake, you've got to do it the hard way. Side by side through the chicane is almost impossible, but he has forced a mistake from Yarshall, and Shinshik should get the run down towards the final corner. You'll see Yarshall position his car right down the inside. There we go. He will leave that door open for Shinshik to go round the outside. And actually, there is a world where you can do the cutback, and he has tried the cutback. He's got that inside line. And as we come up towards the checkered flag, that would have cost each other enough time there for the checkered flag to come out. And ladies and gentlemen, your first winner of the season is going to be Marcel Shinshik. Congratulations to him. What a move at the end there, clean as a whistle. Tim Yarshall, who led the race from the start until, well, a couple of 100 meters away from the line, is going to pick up second. Moritz Lohner had the best seat in the house. He will take third. But Marcel Shinshik, take a bow. That was delicious.
Yeah, that was absolutely incredible on the part of Marcel Shinshik. That was a perfectly paced move at the perfect time here. He had to treat that last lap as if it was. It turned out because he made the move, it was. If he didn't make the move, they potentially would have gone for 1 lap longer. It was really that close there towards the very end of the event. But it is Marcel Shinshik who gets the first sprint race win here in the DTM Esports Pro Championship. An incredible performance from the driver of that Porsche. RaceRoom Esports gets his season off on the best foot possible.
100%. And maybe we've just witnessed the move of the championship already in race number 1. Again, excuse us for the issues we had technically. Hopefully we are now all sorted for the rest of the season, but luckily we managed to catch the end of that race, which was a incredible move made by Marcel Shinshik. And more importantly, he set that up a whole lap before. So he forced Yarshall to be offline through the final corner on the second to last lap, then tried to sort of push Yarshall onto the apex of the corner through turn number 1, took the wide line. Then he forced Yarshall to be defensive through the chicane by having the outside line with no intention of going through side by side. And ultimately, Yarshall was then a little bit, and I say minimally slower on the exit of that chicane, running down towards turn number 4. And there was just a gap that appeared. He could open up the corner. Yarshall tried to, I think he looked behind and falsely thought he had a bit more room to work with, so took a wide line to get a better exit so it wasn't a drag race. And while Marcel Shinshik opened it up perfectly, had that run down towards turn number 1, ultimately nailed the breaking point and maybe caught Tim out a little bit by surprise. And well, on the exit, got straight across his bonnet and said, "Thank you very much." So yeah, race 1 to Marcel Shinshik. Beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely beautiful move. And I think if you're Yarshall there in that situation, you can't really be too hard done by that. Yes, you've had a race win, the first race win of the season taken away from you, but still a very good second place. Still puts you in a great position coming into this main race here at this point as well. But it might be a little bit gutting that the first race win didn't go his way.
Yeah, I will say one thing though. Tim will not have defended that as hard as if that was the final race of the season and it was a case of he had to win the race. It was very clear that once he realised he was done, he just backed down and went, you know what, P2, that's a good start to the championship. We're having a good time. He's someone who over the last couple of years has really sort of sharpened up his build of a championship. What I mean by that is someone who realises that you cannot win a championship in one race. You've got to build your way into it, and then you've got to try and get yourself into a position to then take the championship at the end of the season. You can't win it in race number 1. You can absolutely lose it. So yeah, race management there was perfect. Moritz Lohner wasn't close enough to take advantage, but I don't think Moritz is going to be too worried about that P3. Of course, across this season, their cars are going to suit different tracks as well. So expect to see that BMW be a bit stronger over the course of the rest of the season. But Connery, should we check out then the cars that the people at home can actually go onto RaceRoom right now? You can head into the store and you can buy yourself the DTM 2023. Those are the cars that we are using in this championship. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. That is indeed what you can go onto RaceRoom right now and purchase. You can go and buy the cars right now. And actually, do you know what? I have a couple of codes here. I'm going to give one away very, very quickly. I don't think it's already been given away. So I'm going to do it right now. I was asked if we've got a bit of time to do it. So if you are right now in the DTM stream, in the English stream, the codes just be posted right now from Actral Vision. There you go. There we go, guys. You can indeed get yourself a code. That code there will give you all of the DTM cars. So again, thank you to RaceRoom for giving us that giveaway. Right, Connery, you're the one with all the details in the background. What is the state of play right now?
Well, we're just getting towards the end of the little warm-up session that these guys have before they get themselves into the second run of things in this main event here. Of course, we do get ourselves a second qualifying session, so there's going to be no results, grid based on the results of race 1. That's not how it works here in the DTM Esports Pro Championship. We will have a separate qualifying session to get ourselves set up for the second race, for that quote-unquote endurance race. Even though it's 30 minutes is not necessarily what we consider endurance, but it's the endurance for the purpose of this particular series.
Also, this is the first ever championship on RaceRoom where we have a partnership with a safety car, and that is the official DTM partner of Cupra. So we've got a Cupra safety car which will take us away. We didn't see the rolling start in the first race. We didn't get to see the safety car take part, but hopefully we get that for the second one and you will exactly see the partnership. And if you want to get all of the updates in terms of things for this championship that maybe you don't hear in the broadcast, or maybe there's some things that change prior to the broadcast happening, then head to DTM on YouTube or RaceRoom on YouTube. sorry, on Twitter, or DTM on Twitter. So RaceRoom or DTM, just search for them and you will find them. Right, it's a shorter qualifying session this time round for a longer race. I don't think it makes much of a difference, to be honest with you, Connery, considering that you could do 77 laps in 7 minutes around here. I don't think it's going to make too much of a difference, but the more we go through the championship, it will make a very big difference having a short qualifying for the second race.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you really hit the nail on the head there. You know, it's not, the short session not necessarily going to matter too much here, given that you can get so many laps in. You know, these laps are well less than a minute. Okay, so you're going to get plenty of chances to get a qualifying time on the board. But like you said, a slightly shorter qualifying for the likes of the Hockenheim Ring, for example. The Nürburgring as well is one of the longer circuits on the calendar as well. So it'll be more of a concern then. You might get 1 or 2 less laps than you would normally. But here, since you get I mean, you could fit probably 10 laps in 8 minutes here. It's not necessarily a big issue.
Right, let's get a quick onboard then with Jeffrey Rietveld. As we head round that final corner, I can take you on a lap here of the Norisring. It is the shortest circuit on our calendar, one of the shortest circuits in terms of the world of motorsport. It really is as simple as that. As he goes across the line and he produces a time, which is, well, it's just changing so crazily. He's half a second off, but he's 15th position. Up towards turn number 1 then, as you can see. Nice hairpin there, left-handed hairpin, almost grazing the wall on the exit. You've got to absolutely maximise your speed. Now we run down towards turn 2 and 3, which is a chicane, almost again touching the wall on the inside. Well, Jeffrey has decided I'm on stream, I'm going to mess with the stream, and I'm not going to complete my lap. Here's Jeffrey.
That sounds like normal Jeffrey behaviour, I think.
Shout out to Patrick, who's in the stream as well. Hope you're well, mate. Welcome to the DTM Esports 2024. Although we are in the DTM 2023 cars. Right, there we go. We are on board with Jeffrey, and no, we're not. We move. We change. Now we're not on board with him. I think Connery's playing with my emotions a touch here as well.
Yeah, I just want to see what Ben Sabanki was up to for Dur Esports, because we haven't really mentioned him.
I can't hear Connery now as well, so I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, so, well, interesting. Okay. Well, Discord seems to be having a little bit of an issue for us here, but I'll continue on. Can you hear me? Earth to Luke?
I can hear you now, yeah.
There we go.
Well, I just thought everyone was playing with my emotions right there.
Oh, this stream. I'm going to have nightmares about this stream afterwards, right?
Yeah, no, I think you will. But again, all of these issues are out of your control, mate, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. Back to the job at hand then. We are on board with the number 333, which is Ben Spanky, currently in 3rd position, as Kevin Siggy puts himself up in 2nd. And how important is it for Kevin Siggy, Jeffrey Rietveld, to put themselves in a position where they are not in the mid-pack and where all of the incidents will happen around this circuit after what happened in race 1?
It's not where you want to be. It's really not where you want to be in the middle of that pack. It's that's, like you said, it's the danger zone, right? You can be maybe towards the front of the mid pack, you'll probably be okay. Maybe towards the rear, you'll have time to potentially avoid things. But when you slap bang in the middle there, you're really in that maelstrom, and it can be quite sketchy to try and get yourself through. But Alessandro Ottaviani going fastest here in qualifying at the moment. That's an impressive lap.
Well, I did wonder where Ottaviani was going to end up racing, and it turns out he's ended up at RHG, so I've missed that announcement somewhere. But yeah, Alessandro Ottaviani was without a team at the end of last year, and he's ended up with one of the bigger teams in the world of sim racing, so congratulations to him. Well, he is repaying that faith instantly, as he's currently pole position as it stands, 49.820. Nikodem Wisniewski, who is 2nd, is currently purple through sector number 1. Tim Yarshall, though, who managed to finish in 2nd in race number 1 by absolutely nothing, is in 3rd position now as it stands. But look at the times. Right now, top 10 are separated. Let's go even further. The top 13 are separated down less than a 10th of a second. Absolutely ridiculous scenes. Right, if you're watching over on YouTube, if you're watching over on my channel, I need you to let me know where you're watching from around the world right now. Let's get some hype in this. There's one more race to go for you this evening, a 30-minute time race at the Norisring. We've also got ourselves a mandatory pit stop, 3 minutes left of qualifying. Let's get some excitement in the stream, shall we? Come on! I believe in you all.
Leonard Krypta purple, 43 thousandths of a second through sector 1. It's sector 2. Another 4 hundredths of a second there. So this is looking like a great lap for Kripner. He's down in P23. If he can nail this final sector, then that's looking fantastic in terms of his chances on the grid. Let's see what he gets coming across the line.
You know, Kripner across the line he goes, and he goes from 20th up to 4th position. It's a massive, massive gain there, and now finds himself only 200ths of a second, and actually exactly the same time posted by Tim Yarshall. We're on board with Tim Yarshall, who's going faster than he's gone before. Across the line for Yarshall. He was leading the whole race until the final corner last time out, and it doesn't look like he's improved. Well, he has by 7 thousandths of a second. So those sector times are based on his own previous time, not the overall time in the session. So he found himself 7 thousandths of a second. The times were identical. And right now, Moritz Lohner is finding, well, he's going to push himself up maybe a couple of spots. Yeah, up to P8 then for Moritz Lohner. So yeah, the purple sector is a little bit bugged here. They're effectively green sector.
Yeah, absolutely. I wonder if they're based off of the current best sector times when they start the lap and don't update through the lap as people go faster. That's probably the situation there. Gianmarco Fiducci up into provisional pole position with only 2 minutes left to go. He's in a good position.
All they need now is Enzo Benito to join him, and it's a trio of Italians as well. Nikodem Wisniewski already doing donuts. You want to save that to the end of the race, my friend. The Polish driver finds himself in 3rd position, less than 200ths of a second off of what would be pole position. We go on board with Tim Yarshall now, who is faster than his... Oh, this could be a mega lap. This could be an absolutely mega lap then. Tim Yarshall about to come across the line, already got a P2 in this championship as it stands. He does go across the line. And where's he going to find himself? Oh, it's massive. It is massive. It's 600ths of a second massive. And the German now up to P1 as Marcel Schinschik, just like race number 1, will be on the front row of the grid. Times are tumbling. 1 minute left to go, Connery. And well, are we going to see yet more surprises?
Well, potentially not. I mean, Fiducci is going pretty quick out there. Purple sector 3, but unfortunately was not able to improve on his position there. And Sabanki further down the order. A poor sector 2 means he's not going to be up amongst the order here unless it's an absolutely stonking sector 3, but I doubt it. Yeah, he comes across the line, does not improve. No one on purple sectors here at the moment, apart from maybe Kevin Siggy, who then goes towards 3rd place on the starting grid.
Yeah, that is perfect for Kevin there. He'll be very happy with that. Just keeps him out of the potential trouble in the middle of the pack, considering what happened to him in race number 1. Gianmarco Fiducci finds himself in 4th position. Is there anybody out there going quick? Leon Rudiger was going faster, but that is the times that you're seeing on your screen so far. There are still people out on track, so you might see someone shoot up in between them. But as it stands, Tim Yarshall, and I will say, by the way, the graphics are absolutely delightful. Tim Yarshall, P1 by 300ths of a second to Marcel Schinschik. It is exactly the same as what we had earlier on in race number 1. Kevin Siggy in 3rd spot with Gianmarco Fiducci and Alessandro Ottaviani, 2 Italians in 4th and 5th. They've got Nikodem Wisniewski in 6th spot, Leonard Kripner in 7th, Jeffrey Rietveld in 8th, Emre Cihan in 9th, and then we've got Moritz Lohner in 10th position. So that is your top 10. Incredible stuff from them all. We go a little bit further back, then we've got Lucas Muller, we've got Ben Spanky with the Esports for Jacob Brzezinski, G2, we've got Erhan Yojowski for R8G, Isaac Gillison for Ferrari Esports, Dominic Blyer, who was involved in an incident in race number 1 for Williams Esports in 16th, Yuri Toman for R8G in 17th. They've got Dur Esports, Florian Hasser, Enzo Benito for Team Redline in 19th, and then we've got Leonard Carton for Dur Academy, and someone is just donut in the fifth there. Our next set of 10 drivers, then Marko Pajic for Veloce is in 21st, Christopher Hookveld, who was a privateer in 22nd, Isaac Price, the granddaddy of sim racing, is G2 Esports driver in 23rd. Remy Delorme, CMT, 24th. Jack Keithley, Williams Esports in 25th. Axel Vermeulen, privateer, finds himself in 28th, and a few other drivers as well. Julian Kunze and Christian Mitchell find themselves down at the back end of the grid. But it's the same 2 at the front, Connery. I'm pretty much expecting it to be the same 2 at the front near the end of this race as well. Those 2 were very quick in terms of race number 1. But I will say one thing, there's a different variable. It's not Moritz Lohner behind him, it's Kevin Siggy. Another champion, not only another champion, but the reigning champion of DTM Esports.
Yeah, so, well, if you thought that race 1 was pretty action-packed, well, you want to stick around, don't you? Because we have a little bit of a longer race this time around. with the 30-minute event, mandatory pit stop, so we got strategy to factor into things as well. It's when do you come down in? Do you come down in because you're getting blocked because of traffic ahead of you? Do you come down in and try and get some form of undercut on the tires, even though the tires are not necessarily the limiting factor here? It's all a bunch of decisions that need to be made by these drivers as to when they come down in, because it might be a good bet if you're in traffic.
Here we go now, ladies and gentlemen, cars. We've got ourselves a pace car that will take us away here at the Norisring. You see the Cupra pace car there in the middle. We will have a rolling start. Again, this is new for RaceRoom, the first of its kind. A partnership with Cupra and DTM and RaceRoom, working nicely here as we head down towards turn number 1. Tim Yarshall once again, who has that pole position. They've got Marcel Shinshik in second position, of course, the champion from the ESL R1 last year, winning himself a bucket load of cash, looking to do the same here with DTM Esports. Kevin Siggy in third position, Gianmarco Fiducci heading a double Italian in the top 5 with Ottaviani in behind, Nikita Wisniewski in 6th. They've got Leonard Krippner, Jeffrey Rietveld rounding out your 4th row. Emre Chihan in 9th and Moritz Lohner in 10th. Down towards the final corner they go. Before we start, Connery, any predictions?
Potentially a little bit more aggressive at the front, especially towards the very end of this race. Of course, we still have strategy to try and figure things out, but I wouldn't be surprised if the man who's currently in 3rd place, Kevin Siggy, presses forward here. He's typically better, especially in the back end of longer races, trying to chase people down.
Here we go then, ladies and gentlemen, cars. The pace car is going to move themselves in. Again, we've got a partnership with Cupra, DTM and RaceRoom. It's nice to see a pace car. But now we're about to go green light racing. 30 minutes of racing action here at the Norisring. It's race 2 of the season, race 2 of round 1. And well, it is Tim Yarshall that will take us away. P2 in race 1. Can he go one better in race number 2? Well, I'll tell you what, Marcel Shinshik with that inside line has got an absolute flyer. And we got Kevin Siggy in that red line car, making it 3 wide down towards turn number 1. And well, ultimately, someone has to back out here. No one has decided to back out here. There's going to be no room on the exit. And I tell you what, Fiducci is the driver that makes the most positions up there. And Moritz Lohner's followed him through. And actually, Jeffrey Rietveld has also got himself a spot, as we've got Ottaviani, who's dropped completely backwards here. But Fiducci takes full advantage of that 3-way passing towards turn number 1. He moves up into 3rd spot.
Yep, great stuff indeed. Says we see defending going on there. Moritz Lohner towards the inside. Siggy getting involved with Siggy here as they battle wheel to wheel down in towards the hairpin. Careful not to squeeze that car on the outside out into the wall. It's very easily done. It's a very common instant here at the Norisring, where that car on the inside just tracks out a little bit too much. The car on the outside has nowhere to go but into a concrete wall.
Yeah, we knew we were going to see Kevin Siggy versus Moritz Lohner sooner rather than later. Well, it is race number 2 of the season that we are seeing it. Can Kevin Siggy keep that overlap? He's got a teammate behind him helping him out ever so slightly. And I tell you what, I think he might have his nose in there for a potential P4, but a little bit further up, it is frantically being fought out between Yarshall, Shinshik, Fiducci. Moritz Lohner does hold on to that top 4. We've got a cluster of 3 cars, then a cluster of about 23 cars in behind. Tim Yarshall right now has done what he needed to do. He is in P1, Shinshik still in P2, the front 3 with Fiducci being the rear gunner. Got a bit of a gap now to work with for Moritz Lohner.
Yeah, they have. They really have. I mean, I'm getting a little bit of deja vu from race 1 here, Luke, as it was a 3-car breakaway at the front in the early stages that put a gap on Lohner, and it seems like it's happening again here, but it looks like this front pack potentially eager to fight. It's still in these early stages, this race 1. A couple of looks here and there down in towards this hairpin, this left-hander, but none of them really becoming moves in and of themselves. They're just sort of showing your nose and reminding the driver ahead of you, wait, I'm still here, I'm ready to pounce if you make a mistake.
Yeah, this is extremely reminiscent of what we saw earlier on, but it's a bit different BMW. In P3 as it stands, it is, of course, Gianmarco Fiducci. And we saw that the BMW did drop off during the first race where the Porsches were able to just drive away. This race is a little bit different. As Connery very well pointed out, we have a mandatory pit stop. It hasn't flashed up on our screens as of yet, but it will flash up on our screens, and then we'll tell you exactly then. They have to come into the pit, every single one of them. If they don't, they will indeed be disqualified from the race. It really is as simple as that. How that has an effect, well, we will find out. The BMWs can they keep themselves in the hunt here long enough until we get to that pit stop that they can maybe use strategy to help them out? As it stands, Yarshul, Shinshik, that was how it was for the entirety of the race, bar one corner and a little bit of a straight. Shinshik made an overtake on Yarshul, take the lead right at the death and pick up the first race victory of the season. Fiducci in the BMW leading another BMW of Moritz Lohner for Mouse. He is in fourth position. Kevin Siggy leads a couple of red line cars then with Riefel in sixth position. Ottaviani or indeed R8G is in seventh. Krippner is eighth position as it stands with Yajovski and Bensbanki as your top 10. Seems to have settled down nicely here, but there's still 25 minutes to go.
Yeah, still plenty of time left in this race. You can see Gianmarco Fiducci just stepping out of the slipstream a little bit on the way down in towards the left-hand hairpin there, just making sure he doesn't get too close in towards the braking zone and just sort of sitting pretty for now, not really wanting to progress forward. He knows that this is going to be a bit of a longer race. He knows that the strategy... Oh, someone's around! That is Marcel Chinchik. Chinchik's around in front of traffic.
Oh, Marcel Chinchik has gone all the way around there, and that is not ideal in the slightest. Winner from race number one was not only going to be falling down the order and losing points, but it's just going to continue to happen. He might even have damage to the car. There was a big clatter into the wall. Well, Enzo Benito is going to come through maybe, or Lucas Muller's already got through, Brzezinski's got through, and that is heartbreak there. Tim Yarshall will be looking in his rearview mirror thinking, oh boy, 1.5 seconds to play with here. I have a chance of getting a P2 and a P1 heading into the next round and will lead the championship.
Yeah, look at the cluster ahead here. Brzezinski side by side with Muller on the inside, and the rubber doors coming off the corner, wheel to wheel behind between Chinchik and Benito as well. So no matter where you look, there seems to be fighting here at this moment in time with less than 24 minutes left in the event, as they all just about get themselves single file coming through that little lesson section. Brzezinski able to maintain P11 here for the moment. In terms of the race lead, though, that gap has grown to about 1.5 seconds between Yarshall and Fiduci, but the guys just outside the top 10 are continuing to fight it out.
Yeah, Brzezinski there having to go ultra defensive because Lucas Muller is ready to pounce like the Panther. There is an opportunity to make an overtake. Yeah, right now Tim Yarshall has been given a bit of a freebie opportunity as we go a little bit further back here. Yajovski defending then from Leonard Krippner, and actually they've got then the Ford car of Emery Chihan trying to get involved. This three wide a bit further back as well. You're looking here at Enzo Benito trying to take full advantage, but cannot quite do so.
Not quite do so as a move to the inside though from Muller, trying to get through on Chinchik. Chinchik's able to defend it though, but that was potentially, well, I would argue, always a closing door, and now Muller has to be looking in behind now because Enzo Benito is all over the back of him while he tries to make progress on Chinchik here down towards the inside once again. A little bit of door rubbing through the middle of the corner.
Yeah, just frantically fighting for position. It's almost impossible to really make up any positions here unless you start door banging. It is such a narrow circuit, such a short circuit as well. But ultimately, right now, if you're a Marcel Chinchik, you have to make up as many positions as possible because you had a almost guaranteed podium for that. But yeah, now it's just gone and fallen to pieces. So I've just looked back at that, by the way, and Marcel Chinchik just lost that all on his own. But I will say one thing: he's going to be in trouble for his rejoin. His rejoin, although he was in the middle of the track, not a lot he could do about it. He just rejoined in front of a load of traffic. So Marcel Chinchik not only got a really good result in race number one, but he might be in trouble for race number two here. He just dropped it all on his own.
Yeah, of course, stewards always looking at things over the course of this race. Typically, they prefer to do the old post-race, time penalty or points penalties rather than actually take action during the races here. Although I see someone diving on towards the safety. Well, they're probably pretty safe at this point. I think is that Wisniewski? No, he's out of the event at the moment. Delorme is slow at the very back of the field. So I'm not entirely sure what the situation is here. Is Dominic Blyer involved in a battle with Paige Price as well? Try and say that 5 times quickly.
Yeah, they're having a right old ding-dong here, aren't they? You see Dominic Blyer trying to ward off the pressure of Isaac Price and that Porsche in behind. They've also got Leon Rudiger. They've got Pringer just in behind as well. And yeah, a few drivers are deciding to pit. And it's probably the best idea to pit early because if you do come out, you're more than likely going to be quite a chunk of change behind the big group of cars. But the later you leave it, the more dispersed the pack will get and the less chance of you getting clear tracks. Coming in early might be the best course of action, because if you're one of the leaders right now and you come in a little bit later, there is a world where you start having to battle with everybody still out there on track who are, you know, battling for position. As we see Dominic Blyer having to deal with so much pressure here. Isaac Price is going to send it down the inside of turn number 1. A little bit of a nudge there on the exit. Dominic Blyer, I'm not sure, is going to be too pleased with that, but ultimately Isaac Price will move up a position. He's now into a top 20.
Absolutely. So those drivers that have served their mandatory pit stop, Christian Michael, we've got Julian Kunze and Remy Delorme. They have all served their mandatory pit stop. Everyone else, well, they are still due down on towards the pit lane. It's just a matter of when and not if, because if you don't come down in, well, you'll be disqualified.
You absolutely will. Absolutely spot on there. We've got Tim Yarshall now 2-second advantage, by the way, to Gianmarco Fiducci. Fiducci under some severe pressure from that mouse driver, Moritz Lohner. Moritz Lohner, of course, a 2-time DTM Esports champion, raced in DTM Trophy. His name is synonymous now with esports and DTM. It is as simple as that. They've got Kevin Siggy, who is the reigning champion, currently in 4th position. So they'll be looking to try and get themselves up into a podium position. You know, come away from this week. I would say Norisring is the biggest lottery that we have on the circuit, you know, on the calendar, because it is so easy to get involved in other people's issues. There's walls either side. There's no real runoff anywhere around this circuit. And so, yeah, this is the biggest lottery. If you can get some big points moving into races 2 and 3 and beyond in this championship, I think you're going to be relatively happy. So you can't win the championship today, you can absolutely lose it. So especially after how Kevin's race number 1 went, you know, ultimately this will be a relatively good performance. He'll be happy with that. Moritz Lohner, 2 podiums. Not sure he's going to be too dissatisfied with that.
Yeah, I don't think. I think you're absolutely right. As Lohner will be very comfortable with the situation that's kind of fallen in his lap here at the moment, especially with Chinchik having a very poor start to this race. You know, having to fall, you know, much further down the order than he has any right in being. And of course, potentially still struggling with a little bit of damage as well. That might be the reason why, you know, you could see when he was trying to hold on to positions, he was just holding up the entire pack of cars behind him, and I don't think they were I don't think they were very happy about it.
No, they certainly weren't. As Marcel Chinchik then making his way through the pack, he's got, sorry, it's Jacob Brzezinski, isn't it? Trying to make a position up here on Marcel Chinchik, has that inside line, and actually decides to filter in behind Marcel, and judging by the pace that Marcel had in race number 1, is that a good idea? Just stay behind, get dragged along. See a battle a bit further back than Lucas Muller and Enzo Benito. They fought each other in the ESLR 1 last season, or season 1, shall I say. And so they are used to each other out on that race circuit. Through the chicane they come. And horse driver, Lucas Muller, just about holding on to that top 13. Yeah, pit stops have happened now for the Lawmate. Hoogveld has come in, Carton has pit as well. I believe Kunze, Rudinger, Mitchell have pit as well. I'm not sure Jack Keithley has. I think Jack Keithley might have found himself in that position. Well, no, he has actually. No, it says he has pit now. So, yeah, the back 7 have now come into the pits. Now it's for the rest of the group to come in. So 24th upwards have yet to come in.
Yeah, so there's Jack Keithley coming off of pit lane, and there we go, comes out. Oh, he's going to get out ahead of Christian Michael here. It'll be beneficial if he does, although Michael sends it down the inside, contact made between the two of them there. This is the last thing that Keithley would have wanted. He would have wanted to come out ahead and in the clear air. You can see the frustration being displayed as well, I get the feeling, Luke.
Yeah, but he's a back marker now. This is not a race for position. He's actually a lap down on these cars that he's battling with, so this becomes very, you know, actually, sorry, who is that? No, yeah, it is a lap down. Mitchell is actually a bit further back. This is the number 5 car, which is currently in who is the number 5 car?
They're both 2 laps down.
Yeah, okay, so they're both 2 laps down here. It's Poringer. Actually, I think Jack Keithley is a further lap down on Poringer, to be completely honest. So yeah, they're not really battling for the same part of the racetrack, which is a bit of a shame. Although now the car has been brought in for Poringer. He's doing his pit stop and he'll come back out, and maybe they're battling again once they come out of the pits. But there's your lead group of cars, and Tim Yarshall still eking out that gap, 2.2 seconds. The advantage from P1 to P2. The Italian and the Fiducci is kind of settled for a bit of a defensive job. And like I said earlier on, Connery, if you leave it too late to pit, I think you find yourself in a bit of traffic. So if you're the leader, if you're Yarshall, you just wait for everyone to do it, because then you know you're going to come out with clean air. But for the drivers that are sort of just around about the top 10, and beyond, maybe even the league group, if they want to try and do something spicy coming early, they're a bit stuck now. They kind of have to stay out.
Yeah, I don't think you really have much of a choice. You know, past a certain point, you're committed, right? You're committed to the strategy that you've decided on. You can't just sort of, you know, half do it. You know, you kind of have to go all in. So, yeah, that's just the calls that you have to make sometimes. You kind of back yourself into a corner a little bit with those sorts of things in sim racing and, of course, in the real world as well. So the leading pack is doing rather well. The mid pack is still pretty close. Of course, you know, it's natural over the course of the race. They're going to spread out a little bit, but they're maintaining some of their battle packs here. Richie-Ann, was that a tap to the back bumper of Leonard Kripner? I think it might have been. Monkey on the back of him now.
Little bum tap. You know, I'm here. You're doing pretty well. Just a little bum slap. You know, keep going a bit faster, drag me along, because I'm a little bit under pressure from a BMW in behind. And I'll tell you what, that BMW might absolutely try and send it. A bit of defensive move there from Emre Cihan. And I'll tell you what, he's missed his braking point slightly, runs ever so slightly deep. Well, Banky is not actually close enough to take full advantage. But they all filter in again nicely, and they're all just chilling out. Jonathan Chandler, welcome to the stream. This is RaceRoom. RaceRoom Racing Experience. That is the sim we are on today. We get a lovely shot here of the exit of the chicane. We're over the halfway point of race number 2. Tim Yarshall with a 2.2 second advantage out in the front.
Yeah, a very healthy advantage for Tim Yarshall. Just look at that. There's the visual on the way down the pit straight. How much he's been able to gap Fiducci. It's an impressive feat so far. It's he also holds. I was going to say he holds the fastest lap. Yeah, you think he does actually hold the fastest lap. So 49.965 at the moment. There's only 2 drivers in the entire field that have a fastest lap in the 49s. The only other one is this guy, Kevin Siggy, who's on the who's in the middle of this train for P2.
Yeah, of course, Kevin. You know, as I've mentioned about 400 times, is the current reigning champion. So you expect him to be pretty fast. And he is the lead Audi. I think that probably says it all, doesn't it? Right now, you've got Kevin Siggy and Jeffrey Rupert who are mixing it right at the sharp end. And then the next Audi is their teammate, Enzo Benito. And then the next driver, which is not a teammate, is Jack Heathley down in P22. So, yeah, albeit Jack has pit, I'm not sure the Audi is really competitive for the BOP here at Norisring. So the job they're doing is very, very good indeed. It seems like the Porsche is the car of choice, and the BMW seems very quick as well. So those two seem like the 2 choices of car, but Tim Yarshall right now is driving the dream drive. Yes, he lost out in race number 1. It took all the way down to the final corner for him to lose out to Marcel Shinchik. I don't think he really defended too much. I think he just wanted to make sure that he guaranteed himself a top finish. And ultimately, he's been rewarded here with his patience, because the mistake being made earlier on from Marcel Shinchik in race number 2, which now actually relegated Shinchik down to 16th, although he has it as well, means that Yarshall will be the leader of the championship after the first 2 races. Very good.
Yeah, couldn't really ask for much of a better first event, all things considered. Although perhaps we were speaking a little bit too soon. We still have 12 minutes and quarter of this race to go. So it's you know, we don't want to curse it, do we, Luke?
Well, they have a pit stop as well, so anything can happen in there. You don't want to get caught speeding in the pitch. You know, you can you don't want to be too aggressive, but ultimately you can lose time by not being aggressive enough. So there's still that factor in, and they will be the front 5 now. Will just be waiting effectively for everybody's behind them to pit, so they know they're going to come out with clear air. Because again, if they come in now, they're going to, you know, unless you really want to make up some positions and try something, try it to be a little bit fruity. Right now, you're more than likely going to lose out. You're more than likely going to come out with traffic. I know right now that the red line guys will have someone in their ear telling them exactly whether there's a gap that they can sort of position themselves in. So will Moritz Lohner, you know, so will Tim Yarshall, so will Fiducci. All of these drivers will have someone doing the maths, working out whether they can come in and indeed get out into clear air. So right now, coming in at the latest possible opportunity, realistically, is the only option they have.
Yeah, I think so too. That might just so I wouldn't be surprised if potentially they're just going to all come down in a clump together when the time is right. Okay, so you know, it is a potentially difficult situation. Then you're rolling the dice in terms of what sort of pit stop time you get, right? So you know, that might be a couple of tenths of a second swing either way. So there's that slight little bit of element of randomness, I suppose, once they come down on towards the pit lane, but. It it might just be close enough to be able to, or rather different enough for things to be shaken up here in this particular match.
Well, right now there is actually a window, so everybody up to P11 of pit now, who are behind P11, have pit. So there would be a gap now for any one of the top 5 to get into the pits, come out in clear air, and maybe put in a couple of flyer laps. So this is the opportunity. Now they know that there will be a bit of clear air. Head down towards turn number 1. There we go. Look, everybody again has pit down to up to P11. So they're 32nd up to P11 have managed to come into the pit stops here. So there is a gap now to work with for the front group. So maybe one of those drivers takes that opportunity, gets that clear air, and might use that to try to close the gap. There we go. One of the red line cars has come in. I think that's Kevin Siggy. So Kevin Siggy is the first one to blink here. And is that a bit of a moment of genius? Has he now given himself an opportunity to close that gap with maybe 1 or 2 additional laps, or he's got clear air to try and get involved with that battle with Fiducci and Lona and the BMW?
This heavily depends on if he's found a gap to fall into or not, because if he comes out behind traffic and into a battle, then this is a horrible decision. However, if he comes down into a little bit of clear air, we know what the pace of Siggy is. You know, he's one of the 2 drivers that are in the 49-second mark in terms of fastest lap. We know he has the pace behind the wheel of that car. It's just a case of finding that gap in what is a very congested circuit.
Yeah, but like I said, he will find that clear air because everybody had pit up to P11, and obviously they were ahead. They're obviously ahead of the rest of the pack in terms of the P11 because they're the lead group. So there will definitely be a bit of clear track here to work with. And there you go. It is completely empty. So now a chance for Kevin Siggy to show what pace he's got. I tell you what, I think the race leader's in as well. Yarshall is in. I believe we saw another car. Yes, so Fiducci is in as well. Has Morris Lona come in? Yes, the whole lead group have come in. But remember, it was P4 for Kevin Siggy coming into the pits. 1 lap. How much of a difference does that 1 lap make? Let's get on board with Kevin Siggy because he will be coming around the chicane. He's going to come down towards that final corner. And now we're about to see the merge. Did he gain anything? And he will also have right of way on track. So he will have the inside line if it's close. Down towards that final corner we come. So P4 was the net result coming into the pits. What is the net result now? Of course, Jacob Brzezinski now will take the lead in this race. He has yet to pit, and we will see cars to the left-hand side of your screen. There's Tim Yarshall. The 2 BMWs will come out now as well. And where's Kevin Siggy? Well, actually, he might have lost out here. No, he's got the momentum. He is going to gain 1 spot down towards that braking point. Moritz Lona has jumped Fiducci, but more importantly, so has the reigning champion. And it was a call of genius. He's gone from 4th to 3rd. He was never going to make that move on the track. It just seems it's just all so closely matched in terms of pace. And now with fresh tyres, there is that opportunity. He's got the tyres up to temperature. Maybe he can find 1 more spot. But it's a great call from the Red Line team. And wow, Kevin Siggy into the podium.
Absolutely fantastic call. Whether or not it was Siggy's call or a team member, it doesn't matter. It's gained them the position. And now they can go look forward and try and chase Lona in that mouse car just a little bit down the road. Potentially try and get themselves on the podium here for this 2nd race at the Norisring in the DTM Esports Pro Championship. That's what's on the line here potentially. Race lead has kind of run away a little bit, all things considered. Jacob Brzezinski down on towards the pit lane, so he'll filter down, and Yarshall will re-inherit the race lead here by still quite a healthy margin.
Yeah, Yarshall's done an exceptional job today. Both races has been absolutely the class of the field. I think Shinshik would probably be in that conversation if he didn't have the issues earlier on. Where is Shinshik actually in all of this? He's P10. So actually he saved, and he might actually gain a position on Brzezinski. It's going to be tight between those 2. Shinshik over 9th or 10th position has saved his race, considering where he was. He was facing the wrong way earlier on in this race from P2. But ultimately, Tim Yarshall has been the star of the field. It's going to be a P2 and a P1. Unless there's a catastrophic error from the Falcon Sim Racing team driver, that 2.6 second gap. The biggest loser in terms of the pit stop was Gianmarco Fiducci. He was comfortably in 2nd spot, defending from Moritz Lona, who was right behind him, and Kevin Siggy was behind him. But ultimately, he's dropped 2 positions in that pit stop phase. He lost out on the same lap he pit as Moritz Lona. Moritz Lona with maybe just a much more aggressive pit stop in terms of his entry and exit speed, whereas it was Jeffrey Reed who just stays in P5. Nothing really has changed there. Kevin gaining that 1 spot. So the front 5 have changed. The pit stop did have a big effect, but look at the gap they've got then on the next Ottaviani, about 2 seconds behind then. Yuyovsky currently in P7. Leonard Krippner. Brzezinski has come out ahead of Shinshik. Brzezinski did come out just ahead of Shinshik, but again, a top 10, considering where Shinshik was in this race, I think he'd be relatively happy. The pit stops, yes, they did spice it up today, Connery.
Yeah, I think they did as well. So it's great to see that factoring in, because usually you would think, a tiny little four-tire pit stop in the middle of it's a relatively short race, that's not really going to affect things, right? But we've seen the opposite here. Of course, Siggy able to benefit out of it. For a couple of other drivers also being able to find some clear air after their pit stops and put in some good laps, because they were potentially a little bit stuck in traffic. But this last 5 minutes is going to be very interesting though, Luke, because we still got this battle for P2 going on. Maurice Lohner is going to have his work cut out to keep a very hard charging Kevin Siggy behind him, and don't forget about all those other cars waiting in the wings as well.
Yeah, Kevin Siggy cannot afford to be overly aggressive here, because if he does make a move and it doesn't pay off, well, he's got cars that are going to take advantage. Talking of taking advantage, Jeffrey Rietveld then finds a little gap there on that Veloce BMW, and well, ultimately doesn't quite get the position nailed. And I think Kevin might have been saved there a little bit by his teammate trying to make a move, because Fiducci wasn't able to look forward. But right now, as we come down towards the final corner, this is where it seems the Audi has its strength down the longest run, apart from obviously down towards the number one. At the highest speed, able to maybe get a bit of overspeed in that slipstream, and then outbrake the BMW in front. This time round, not as close as it was last time round. There was a nice little battle, by the way. We had Vermeulen, who's currently 27th, 26th, and Boldy. Those three were changing position. I saw on the timing screen, like it was going out of fashion. It does look like Boldy has got ahead now of Paul, and he's now able to just drive away into the distance. But yeah, it was changing position down there about 8 or 9 times over the course of one lap. You see there Rietveld trying to get himself up to the top 4. This time, no cigar.
Yeah, let's have a little bit of a ride on board with Rietveld here, because he's been looking relatively aggressive over the last couple of laps, trying to get in Fiduci's mirrors, and like you mentioned before, distracting Fiduci from the task at hand in terms of trying to get past Rietveld. Still a bit further down the road. There's a big look to the inside there for the Dutchman, but not going to be, well, it was all threat and no result there for Rietveld. It was a big move, but just simply way too far back to find any sort of success there.
Well, Lucas Muller's gone the wrong way. He's down to P21, so there's been some issues there. He was battling with Enzo Benito. Enzo Benito, now the lead car of this pack, is actually now the leader of a big old traffic jam, isn't he? You see in the background who is getting involved here. So that's Isaac Gillison having to defend from Yuri Toman. Yuri Toman, Dominic Plyer, trying to go around the outside. He gets squeezed off there, as you inevitably will do. It is DTM after all. Turn 1 at Norisring DTM. They go hand in hand, sometimes even inside a championship. That is how closely contested this race circuit is. Yes, there's many people out there getting flashbacks now of 2021. What a season ender that was. Running down towards the final corner once again. And I see that Yuri Toman just getting on the power a little bit too early there, sliding the rear of the car out. Yeah, there are battles all over this circuit. We're going to see this for the entirety of the season. 2 minutes left on the clock, Connery. We are going to see this, whether it be for P1 or whether it be for P31. We are going to see drivers side by side, battling within hundredths of a second of each other, and I am all here for it. This might be the closest grid we've ever had.
I think so too. You can, this P2 down to P5, as close as you like. Yes, Yarshel has had the, had an opportunity to break away and has. Gap is over 4 seconds at this point between P1 and P2. It seems like Yarshel is very comfortable with this Norisring circuit and has done a lot of preparation in the in the gap we had between the shootouts and this first event to really hone his skills and get up there, and it's been a fantastic day so far for Yarshel. But we still got some undecided battles, of course, coming up to a minute to go. Lohner, Siggy, Fiduci, Rietveld all in this train. May come across the line in this order, may not. And I've got to say, the latter would probably be pretty exciting if they get to it.
We've got some big names in this championship. The likes of Moritz Lohner, of course, we know is one of the biggest names in sim racing. Kevin Siggy, who's currently in the top 3. You've got Jeffrey Rietveld, who's performed on multiple different platforms. We've got Yayovsky, Marcel Shinshik. These are huge names. Isaac Gillison, Enzo Benito. and they always have that one defining round of a championship that kind of announces them as, you know, one of the very best in the world of sim racing. And Tim Yarshall has always been there or thereabouts on RaceRoom. You know, not considered as, you know, one of the extreme best, but one of, you know, a group of exceptional drivers. I think this is the round. This is the week where Tim Yarshall announces himself as one of the very best and someone to absolutely watch out for during this DTM Esports Championship. He's been so close in previous seasons and previous championships on RaceRoom to being in that cluster of drivers that's considered the best. This is the time where he absolutely announces that as a fact. Driving for Vulcan Sim Racing, it was so close in race number 1, but for race 2, there is no mistake about it. Tim Yarshall is a DTM Esports race winner. Congratulations to him. Marcel Shinchik fought him for a couple of laps, but made his own mistake into the chicane. Well, there's one driver that will not care one iota. It is Tim Yarshall, the German, taking the spoils. We'll have the championship lead heading into round 2 next time out. Well, very special performance here at the Norisring, Connery.
Yeah, absolutely. Great stuff from Tim Yarshall. Moritz Lohner on the podium again. Great day out for Moritz Lohner. We've also got Kevin Siggy up there as well. All great days for some very, very potent drivers. But the happiest of them all, of course, will be a driver of that Porsche, Tim Yarshall. Yeah. We always knew he was capable of something like this, Luke. It was just only going to be a matter of time and the right set of circumstances and the right preparation. And he takes the main race win here at the Norisring for the round number 1 of the DTM Esports Pro Championship.
Yeah, absolutely outstanding performance there. I think Moritz Lohner will be very happy with his P2. Kevin Siggy on the podium as well. Those two, of course, previous champions, the latter being the reigning champ. Tim Yarshall looking to be the next champ, and we'll have the lead going into round number 2. Then you had Gianmarco Fiducci for Veloce in 4th position, and the second redline car of Jeffrey Rietveld rounding out your top 5. I'm sure we're going to get the official results, but the day belongs to that driver there. The number 44 in that Vulcan Sim Racing team car in the Porsche, it is Tim Yarshall. He is our winner. We've got winner. We've then got Moritz Lohner, who finishes in 2nd spot. And then we've got Kevin Siggy, who's, I think, smiling in that picture. It's very rare you see him smiling. He is 3rd position. I tell you what, Tim Yarshall, that face he's got in that picture, well, he definitely meant business in that picture, and he definitely meant business in terms of the first 2 races of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. We've had a couple of great races here today, all things considered. I got to say, you know, it was a bit of a slight surprise to see Tim Yarshall doing so well. I'm going to be completely honest about that. Hopefully, he doesn't come at me on Twitter or anything about that. But yeah, it's great to see that sort of performance come out from him. Of course, the issue is now for Yarshall, how does he convert that into the next race and the race after that and the race after that? Okay, is this just a fluke, or is it going to be a theme throughout this entire championship? You know, it's tough to say at this point because the Norisring is a little bit of a different beast to some of the other circuits that we have out there. It's fast, it's furious, it's pretty simple, okay? But when we get to Red Bull Ring, when we get to Hockenheimring for a finale, is Yarshall going to still be up there? That's one of the unanswered questions coming into round 2.
I will say one thing about Tim. He's always been, you know, RaceRoom has a massive, massive plethora of talent. There's so many drivers that are at the sharp end, and then there's like this extra group that are like the top of the top. There's sort of 5 or 6 drivers that you would maybe put into that category. I think he's announced himself as one of those 5 or 6 drivers now with that performance today. There's one thing that happened last year that was just huge for Tim Yarshall's development. Having to deal with the expectations of representing a team such as FaZe. FaZe is one of the biggest organizations in esports. So they obviously came into sim racing last year, and he participated for them, and he is the first ever race winner for FaZe. That is massive. That's something that can never be taken away from him. And the social media like carnival, the circus that was around the event that he won that race, he would have had to have dealt with quite a lot of expectations beyond that point, and it maybe not has gone so well. This is kind of a bit of a step back. He's now representing a huge brand name, by the way, in Vulcan within the world of motorsport and now sim racing. So he's dealt with the expectations of being a part of one of the biggest organizations. So he knows what to do. The next step for him was to go out there and get the results against the biggest names in esports. He's come here today. He was so close in race number 1, showed great maturity, by the way, by not fighting Shinchik too hard. into that final corner, realizing that P2 is a much better result than a potential, only a top 10 if he spins and gets involved in an incident with Shinjik. And then in race 2, showed that massive maturity by going out there and just taking full advantage. And I say take advantage of Shinjik's mistake. He was P1 by merit. He had already built himself up a little bit of a gap, but ultimately that gap got bigger because of Shinjik's mistake. Just did not look back. I think we're going to, when it's all said and done at the end of the season, we're going to look back on today and realize that this was a massive, massive, not only a race or 2 races for his championship, but his development as a driver. Very special performance.
I've actually written in my notes. I usually make notes throughout the broadcast just to remind me of certain things that have happened. And one of the things I've written in all caps is, "Can Yarshel keep doing this?" That's the thing. That's the big question, okay? Because Chinchik's not gonna, not gonna just sit there and let him have all these races. Lona's not gonna do it. Siggy, all these drivers, they're gonna be realizing after this race, maybe I need to step up potentially. And trying to challenge coming into those future rounds. So that's what makes this so exciting, because everyone is so close, especially in the qualifying order. Qualifying is going to be critical throughout this entire season.
Yeah, 100%. It is a case of, as much as he's done exceptionally well, he has to be wary that there are drivers behind him that are complete pros. They are very much going to be even hungrier now, and they are maybe at their best when they're chasing. Some of those big driver names are very good at being front runners in the championship, but when they're hungry and they're wanting to indeed get involved, that's when they are at their absolute best. And he's got, 2 drivers racing for maybe the biggest sim racing team in the world right now, Team Redline. They've had a very good start to the year. You got Moritz Lohner, who is maybe, you put him as the best RaceRoom driver of all time. He's definitely in a conversation at it. It becomes very, very difficult. Morris has actually just messaged me, by the way, so I need to reply to him to tell him where to meet. He wants to come and do an interview. So
we can get him in.
Well, I've just told him to join the RaceRoom, come and join the channel in RaceRoom Discord, because he didn't know where to go, but he wants to do an English. He wants to come and do an English interview. There he is. He's in there, waiting for us to be dragged in. And if there's any other drivers who want to come and get involved, absolutely come and join us. And you can message me, and I can tell you where to go, just like Moritz Lohner did. Moritz Lohner, 2-time DTM Esports champion. Not a win today, but I think you'll be pretty happy with the 2 results you got.
I unfortunately have to correct you. Only 1-time DTM Esports champion.
Oh, there you go. I was wrong. I thought you were 2-time. You came second.
Maybe you're seeing the future. I hope so, but yeah, not so far. But yeah, I mean, difficult. Well, not difficult, but I think in terms of how competitive the grid is this year, quite a successful weekend. I mean, qualifying went absolutely perfect in the first for the first race. I'm still a bit angry about the starting procedure of like the P1 guy starting on the outside and basically already being demoted to P3 right after turn 1. But it is what it is. I just tried to capitalize some points, and then in the qualifying for the second one, I just couldn't get the lap together somehow, because probably my mind was still with the first race of the race start. But yeah, somehow I went left, right at the start of the race and went from P10 to P4, I believe it was. And then Chinchik spun in front of me, and then it was only Fiducci who I fortunately got in the pit stop. And yeah, P2 and P3, I think it's a perfect season start.
Yeah, it was a perfect start, and even though the race win eluded you, it's still a very, very good position to be in. Of course, for the second round of the season, well, we've got back-to-back races in terms of weeks for the next couple here. So how's your preparation for the Nürburgring going? Of course, it's going to be a track that you've done thousands and thousands and thousands of laps on. But how's it going at the moment? You feeling optimistic for the next event, or are you going to treat it cautiously?
Some laps more fun than others, Moritz, by the way, just to add. I may have been round there with him. Not fun.
Yeah. No, I don't know. For Nürburgring, I basically didn't do any BOP testing. So while everyone else knows kind of which car is good on which track, I have absolutely no clue. I only know I have my BMW, my trusty BMW. And yeah, it was good at the Norisring. In the race pace, maybe it fell off a little bit at the end with the tires. But I have actually no clue how it's going to look like with the next tracks, also Nürburgring. I think it's going to be up there as well. But I guess we will see on race day, and I'll do my best in preparation, of course, to even if the car maybe is not up there, but hopefully then I am up there with the best preparation, and that's the goal number one.
I've spoken to you many a time in these interviews, Moritz, where I've given you the credit you deserve and whatnot. This maybe sound a bit rude, but I just want to touch on Tim Yarshall. How special of a performance was that? Considering you've won this championship, how special of a performance was that from Tim today?
Incredible. I've been telling him this like since years. I mean, I've been teammates with him, and I've been racing him on RaceRoom since 10 plus years. I don't know how long. And I always knew that he, on pure pace, outperforms everyone on RaceRoom, literally everyone. But he so far has never had the courage to actually practice a lot and put in time and effort for it. And this time, at least my old Dirt teammates told me that he really put in a lot of practice time for this event. And I mean, it shows. He definitely has the pace. He's one of the most talented sim racers I know. He just never showed it in the past because his priorities were just somewhere else. And maybe this is now the click for him to where he himself notices, yeah, man, this is it. I can perform on a very good level if I just concentrate on it. So I'm really happy for him. Good friend of mine as well. So obviously my opponent in the championship, but yeah, just great performance by him. Absolutely flawless.
Awesome, mate. Well, thank you not only for having a chat with us, but for, touching on Tim Yarshall as well, which is always nice. And I wish you the very best of luck for the rest of the championship, mate.
Thank you, guys. Bye bye.
So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That is the stream done and dusted, right? Let's check out the calendar for the rest of the season then, and we'll check out where we are next time round, which is actually next week. So we've got 3 weeks in a row. So we head to the Nürburgring, as Connery alluded to there with Moritz. Again, I've been around the Nordschleife with Moritz, and it was zero fun. Lausitzring then is our third round, which is a fast and furious track. I'm not too sure whether we're doing the oval turn one or whether we're doing the chicane turn one. So we'll obviously find that out over the course of the next couple of weeks. Then we head to the Sachsenring, which is another fast and furious track, followed by the Red Bull Ring, which is also a very fast and furious track, followed by the Hockenheim Ring, which will be the championship finale for round number 6, which again is fast and indeed furious. Connery, any final thoughts from you?
Well, more of the same in terms of the racing action. Let's just say that we thought it was going to be close coming into this, and it was. Second race notwithstanding for the race lead, Yarshall was just kind of a class above the rest, especially with Chinchik going out so early on in the event. But I think it's a promising sign of things to come, especially as we get towards the Nürburgring. I do have race results. I won't be able to pull up the graphic, but I'll be able to take you through them. Of course, for race 1, it was Chinchik taking the race swing. These are, I believe, the official results now, but well, I'll say that with a bit of caution. So Marcel Chinchik with Tim Yarshall and Moritz Lohner, that was race number 1. Victor Vizuski and Isaac Price running out the top 5. And then, of course, in the race we just saw, Yarshall, Lohner, Siggy, Fiducci, and then Rietveld. But yeah, it was an absolutely fantastic event. We'll bring our lovely faces back onto screen here, and we can. We're not quite done just yet because we are pending a pole position award from Asher Racing, which we'll get here in just one moment.
Okay, right. We've got a little award then, have we? Okay, copy.
Yeah, a little
Love
award.
to see that. A little award. Okay. Do I get it? Is it for me?
No,
it's not for me. Okay, copy.
Of course not. But it's of course for the driver that gets themselves pole position in the races here in the DTM Esports Pro Championship. So we do have these sorts of mini competitions going on throughout the event, and of course we even have a graphic for it as well. So there we go. There's the Asher Racing Pole Position Award. So Moritz Lohner and Tim Yarshall have gotten themselves progress towards that award.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind picking up that Asher Racing rim either. That looks very nice indeed. But yes, Moritz Lohner has one pole position and Tim Yarshall has the second one. So congratulations to those two. And well, there are 10 more opportunities for people to try and get themselves involved in that. So it's nice to have a little side quest within this championship. But there you go. that is it, done and dusted for today, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully you did enjoy that. Apologies for any technical issues that we had earlier on in the broadcast, but these things just happen. That is sim racing esports in the end. But we came in today with a couple of absolute superstars and previous champions. We had Moritz Lohner. We did indeed have Kevin Siggy, and we thought the storylines may indeed be about them, but it's not. A new star is born. Tim Yarshall, who will lead the championship going into round 2 next time out. Thank you for watching, and we'll catch you next time at the Nürburgring.